Hello data scientists. Today I'd like to explore some simple concepts around pair trading. For those who don't know, pair trading is when you have two related stocks. We'll look at the classics, Pepsi and Coca-Cola and FedEx and UPS. And they tend to move together in the stock market, but once in a while they veer away from each other. And that's when people start saying, ooh, is this a pair trade opportunity? Basically, the one that went up, you short, the one that went down, you go long, hoping that you're going to, profit from that spread shortening from the two stocks going back to, reverting back to their normal behavior, right? That's pair trading. There's also, pair trading is interesting for many other reasons. For example, it's a way of removing the entire market and just focusing on the action of two stocks, right? If you go short one stock and long another, and the entire market tanks, right? They're both going to move probably together. Or if it goes to the moon, they're both going to move up. So you basically are removing the noise of the market so you can focus on those two elements. I think that's really interesting. And pair trading is also very interesting in terms of investigating what's going on, right? If you are concerned that something funny is going on with a business, you could compare it with other of its peer businesses and see if it's behaving differently, right? Like in a pump and dump scheme, or maybe the leadership is dumping their stock options. You'll start seeing that behavior by comparing it with an index or comparing it with its peers, right? So very interesting. Plenty of stuff. But here I'm not too concerned about the fundamentals behind it. Here I just want to look at some simple Python tools, matplotlib and correlation and cointegration, so you can start playing around yourself and understanding how to quantitatively and visually measure the behavior between two related stocks. So we are going to get data from, we're going to need to download data from FedEx, UPS, Coca-Cola, and Pepsi. So to get historical data is very easy, and we're going to do that using Yahoo Finance. The kind folks at Yahoo Finance are making the stock market data available. So it's very simple to do. So there's a link in the notebook. Just click on it and enter whatever you want. Right? Let's say Coca-Cola in this case. And you'll see in the URL there it says history. That's what you want, because at first it just gives you the price of the day. But if you scroll a bit down, you'll get the daily action, basically the end of day prices, and that's what you want. So it gives you a time period. We want it for a year. Perfect. That's all we need. And then there's a download button. So download that data, right, for those four stocks, right? So FedEx, UPS, Coca-Cola, and Pepsi, and put them all in the same folder and name that folder data, and point your notebook to that folder data so they will work seamlessly. And the link to the GitHub repo and the blog are in the description of the video. So this is very simple right here. We're just kind of cleaning up the data. We point the path name to data, and we have this loop that's going to go and harvest anything with the .csv extension. It's going to open them. It's going to kind of concatenate them in a list, and then it's going to cast that list to a data frame. Super simple, super easy. It does some, it kind of turns the date time for the string from a string to a date time. It also removes NAs, and it also does, it pivots the data, because we want to end up with this format, right? We want to end up with the index being the date, and every column, every feature in the column is one of the stocks. And so you have, the closing prices. So it's going to be very easy for us to compare, right? Because they're all kind of aligned by date. We also have to do a little trickery here to remove the double index. It's just harder to work as double index. We want to get it with a single index. So here it is, date and the stocks, right? You don't see the symbol anymore. So don't worry too much about that. And now let's see how can we analyze these two stocks. So we know, right, FedEx and UPS are related. They're in the same business. They're shipping magnets. They have planes. They ship all around the world. So we know they're related. So one way we can do it is simply use matplotlib and plot them on their own axes. So you plot the first one like you normally do it, and the second one you plot it using secondary y equals true, meaning on its own axis. And here you see it, right? We can see that UPS is here and FedEx is here, and this axis here is FedEx. This axis here is UPS, right? So they kind of, so how matplotlib probably internally plots them, it looks at the highest point for one axis and the lowest point, and tries to make it look nice. Same thing for the other. So they're not scientifically related. It's just kind of this visual. It's basically bound both by their highest peak and lowest peak. So this is not very scientific. It's easy to see, to eyeball it. You see, yeah, there definitely seems to be some relation between both, right? And same thing with Coca-Cola and Pepsi, right? They own axes, and there definitely seems to be some relation. But we need to do something more than that. So we're going to normalize the data. This is a huge field in finance and in time series, and there's a lot of different ways of doing this. One way I like to do it is the percentage change. It's a simple thing for me to understand. I like it. So percent change, basically, if you have two stocks, a $200 stock and a dollar stock, and they both go up 1%, right? So instead of saying, it went up, whatever the dollar value, you just say 1% and the other one 1%. And now you know that they both moved exactly the same. Even though they're on completely different scales, we're now bringing them back on a single scale, the percentage change. We also add the cumulative, the cumulative sum, just to kind of, so from one point, you start at a point in time, and then you kind of track how it moves over time by adding those percentage change together, right? And what you end up with is, so first of all here, right, you see this is what we end up, so we create this normalize and accumulate series function, and we apply it to our 4 stocks. And you see, instead of having a price, now it's a very, very small number, right? And that just shows that percentage change. And when you look at it, it looks almost exactly like the chart behavior. That's because of the cumulative change. The only difference is they both start at exactly the same point. And then you add the changes together, the percentage changes, and you start seeing some divergence. And if you compare this with this, right, it does look kind of similar, right? Except here you start at the same point. So what this tells you here is that for example, that UPS tanked hard while FedEx tanked less hard, because you're looking at the same scale. You're looking at in percentage change. It didn't tank as hard as UPS did, right? But they seem to somewhat be moving in the same direction. Something funny happened here, and then they're kind of trying to get back together, trying to revert back to their mean behavior. Coca-Cola, a lot closer, right? Look at that. It starts at 0. There's something goes on where Pepsi kind of drops a little harder than Coca-Cola. And then same thing here, Pepsi drops really hard and they go back to 0, right? So if you were in a pair trade, again, after the fact, it's a bit ridiculous, but you would have said, I would have shorted this peak and I would have bought the equivalent here, right? You would have made money when they both kind of reverted back, regardless of what happens to the market, right? Overall, it's going to follow the market because you're in a safe, you're bounded by a pair trade. You have a long and a short position in something very related. Now you're going to be safe from the gyrations of the market. And if you had bought and sold this spread, you would have done okay. You would have been in the money around here. Actually, you would have bought or sold anything. In the end, you would have been okay because they reverted. The last point, right, over the year, started together and they ended together, right? Well, they started together because we're starting them together. We said this is first percentage change is 0, so that's how they start together. If you had looked at 2 years of data, it may not be the same, right? Keep that in mind. But you can choose, right? You can play around. You can say, okay, let me look at 6 months or 3 months, right? Depends on what you want. Depends on your understanding of these stocks, right? So this is definitely a better way to look at them visually because they're on the same axis, right? There's no axis here anymore. It's just one axis, but we're doing it through a percentage change. So that's why when you plot them, you call, your matplotlib, and you simply add the two together because they're on the exact same scale. So you want to measure this, right? You need some kind of quantitative measurement, especially if you want to automate some of this stuff for alerts, for example. You need some functions to help you determine, is this related or not? So two of the most popular ones for pair trading and for the differentiating behavior between two time series are the cointegration and the correlation. So the cointegration, simply go on Wikipedia. There's a lot of information on that, but simply put, cointegration kind of measures the distance between these two stocks and make sure that distance stays kind of the same, right? Because that means that they are behaving the same way if the distance between both doesn't change too much, right? And it it measures it into it will return whether or not it is statistically significant, meaning this relation is statistically significant through the form of a p-value. So this is classic statistics. A p-value of like under 0.05 or 0.01 is considered statistically significant, and that tells you that that distance between both is stable through time. They are co-integrated. Correlation, it kind of looks at how they, the direction in which they move. And if they move in exactly the same direction, they get a correlation of 1. This is perfectly correlated. And if they move in exact opposite direction, it's considered -1. So perfectly negatively correlated. And if there's no relationship within their direction, it's a correlation of 0, right? So obviously you're looking for a high correlation, a correlation of 1, and a very small p-value, co-integrated p-value of anything lower than 0.05. So, so I did create my own little correlation function, which I got from, I think I got this from Stack Overflow. I'm gonna put the source on to make sure that, you know, those who wrote it get the props. And you will, the co-integration, the function that people are using is a stats model. So you'll have to, you know, pip install these two libraries in order to get the co-integration function. So here you have, we call, you know, so we also kind of like are abstracting it by creating variable names instead of passing the actual stock name. You know, co-integration, you just simply call coint and you pass it the 2 time series. And correlation, the same thing, 2 time series. And the correlation between Coca-Cola and Pepsi is huge. It's 0.79. Let's say 0.8 for simplicity. So that's very high, right? 1 is perfect. So we can, and by looking at it, right, we can say, yeah, they're definitely moving in very similar direction. When this one's going down, this one's going down, this one's going up, this one's going down, right? So very much, right? Not perfectly, that otherwise would be 1. And the co-integration between both is 0.03. So that's lower than 0.05. You know, we can say they are statistically, the similarity between both is statistically significant, pretty good. So we can say that for the year, right, for this year, basically July 2017 to today, these, you know, Coca-Cola and Pepsi are very related, right? These would be good candidates, in retrospect, would be good candidates for pair trade, especially, you know, if you think of it, you know, buying anything here, shorting anything here, you would have okay, right? Now let's look at UPS and FedEx. UPS and FedEx, different story. For this year, right, we know and overall they're very related, right, they're in the same business. But for this year, not so much so. UPS and FedEx had a correlation of 0.45, so that's not much, right? 0 is random, 1 is perfect. You know, it's kind of halfway in there, not great. And the worst is the co-integration. To be statistically significant, you should get, you know, 0.05. Here you're getting a 0.2, so not significant at all, according to the co-integration formula. So not great, right? So this would have been, in retrospect, not the best stock to trade. And it's true when you think about it, right? What if you had kind of you know, shorted here and bought here? You would have been stuck for many months without making much money. I mean, it didn't spread apart, which is good. That's because, you know, they are very big companies and their business models are very clear and transparent. We know they're related, but at the same time, you know, had you done your spread here, you would have lost money, right? I mean, if you had shorted this and bought this, imagine at this point, right? You say, oh yeah, the spread is pretty big. I'm gonna play this area right here. You know, you probably not made up. You know, as of today, you'd still be in the red. So. How can we measure, how can we build alerts, right? We want to say alerts, yeah, you know, I want to be able to throw in a lot of stocks and I want to get alerted when something funny is going on, something abnormal. So one thing you can do is, because our percentage change, accumulated sum of percentage changes is, they're on the same scale, you can simply subtract them. So here I'm subtracting FDX minus UPS. So you see I took FDX and I subtracted it with UPS. And you start to see a little bit how it's behaving, right? You can see here there's a huge spread, and we know there is, right? This is going to be right around here, right? Huge spread, and it does. It tells you, oh look, huge spread, right? And it's maybe a little bit more interested in Pepsi and Coca-Cola because we know that they were correlated and co-integrated, and you can see here big spreads, right? Big spreads. And if I look here, right, this area, let's see where it takes us. It is the biggest spread right here, right? So here. You would have wanted to, you know, this will tell you, you know, short Coca-Cola and buy Pepsi, right? For example, right? Just, you know, you got to know what you're subtracting against what, so you know the direction. So there's an easy way for you to kind of capture these peaks, right? Is to maybe not look at the cumulative sum, but look at just the percentage change. So you can get very short-term spikes, changes in a direction. So in spread. So instead of, we kind of refactor or normalize the function we use to normalize a series, and instead this time we just apply the percentage change. We don't apply the cumulative sum afterwards. So then you end up having these erratic values going, positive and negative. Here an example, right? It goes up and down all the time. And you can see that too. So here instead we're renormalizing a series, but not applying the cumulative sum, just the percentage change. And then you can see that, right, you can start capturing spikes, right? So you're now looking for single spikes. You're looking for a lot of spikes in the same direction. That means it tends to be separating over time. And you could add a moving average to those if you wanted. Same thing here, right? Here we're starting to see that, there's more spikes at the bottom, and then there's some very long ones here, right? So let's see. This is a very long one for Coca-Cola and Pepsi. I'll just put my mouse, hopefully eyeball it a bit, and find the Coca-Cola, and it kind of shows you this little spike here, this spike down. And it's true when you look at it, right? One is clearly going up, one is going down, right? But let's see if they see anything significant in this area, right? Here there's clearly a difference. It went down, this one went down a lot more, right? So let's see what that looks. I'll put my mouse here, not very scientific, but enough. And you start getting this area here, right? A spike up here, a spike down. And here we have a bunch of down spikes, right? Which I think is this whole separation here. So, definitely something to think about, right? Ways of creating indicators to measure, to alert what's going on in pairs. I think pairs are fascinating because not only do you have a way of magically removing the noise and the overall gyration in the markets, which is pretty powerful, and you also have this investigative tool where you can compare things, what's going on between these two companies. And I didn't look it up. I should have probably, but I bet you there's some interesting news information happening here when, it seems that UPS, tanked twice as hard as FedEx, right? Something interesting happened. I will try to post more videos on pair trading because I'm very interested in that topic. And again, the quantitative aspects in pair trading is just, the tip of the iceberg. Once you find something interesting, it's time to hit the books and investigate. Why is everybody else thinking that the spread is normal and you don't? So you should definitely research it, and you probably should be trading only companies that you know intimately, that you work around, so that you can say, I think people are panicking out there. It's gonna kind of revert back to its normal behavior.